How many of you knew Michealmcchill has Dream SMP lore?
Tisk tisk tisk.
So Michael had lore, and oh my god, it's amazing. You thought Quackities was great? No, this is huge! Well, not really, it's only 6 minutes long. So you know what this means. It all starts at 00 with this, and it stays like this, the whole time. But before we even get into the abyss of nothingness, we have the events that occurred that brought forth this incredible cinematic piece of art. A 8-minute clip from a Dream SMP clip channel. What am I doing? It all begins with Bad Boy Halo passing by Michealmcchill's house and deciding to pay a nice visit to his old friend. But when he knocks on the door, no one responds. So he does the next rational thing of breaking and entering, then waiting for him in his basement, with George. After some time, Bad felt alone wandering around Michael's basement all by himself, so he asks George to join the server. And instead of just joining and accompanying him in the basement, George makes a bold offer.
Yes, George.
Burn the house down.
Are you looking
Burn
at
the
my
house.
screen, George?
I'm only looking when you get out the flint and steel. Burn the house.
Bad became very hesitant to pick, so George helps out and runs a poll in his chat to determine whether they should burn it down or not. Surprisingly, the chat was against the arson, but since we have no freedom of speech, George says it's opposite day where he lives, meaning that the arson was back in action, baby. And of course, Bad goes along with this, hesitantly searching for materials in Michael's chests. He finds some gravel hidden away and creates a flint and steel to immense the burning. And he begins lighting mushrooms on fire. Mushrooms. But before his genius idea was put into complete action, he puts the fire out and says it was all a prank.
I actually thought I was gonna do it. How many of your guys' hearts were racing right there? How many hearts were racing? Literally.
But Foolish didn't take this very well. It became clear early in the stream that Foolish gamers had been lurking in the chats and adding snide comments in-game to prove it. Although he hadn't said anything relating to the fire in some time, it became obvious he was still watching when he showed up on the wooden steps with nothing but flint and steel. So when Bad looks to his side, he sees Foolish entering down the steps, with a trail of fire in his path. Rightfully so, Bad begins losing his marbles, or should I say muffins, over this. I am so sorry. Bad frantically puts the fire out, ordering Foolish to leave the building immediately, and he does, after lighting half the building on fire obviously. Later in the chat, Foolish warns Bad that he didn't stop the whole fire, causing Bad to rush back to the scene of a half-burnt down house. Okay, yeah, I'm exaggerating, but shh. He begins trying to put it out, which didn't work, like Bad with 1 water bucket plus 50 wooden blocks on fire equals no. Basic math. Though during this event our ears get to be absolutely blessed, which what I think is Bad's interpretation of cussing someone out. Just listen.
What actually lit it? You flipping little cheeseburger. No.
Like, what? He sounds like he just cussed in Kids Bop. He does eventually fix most of Michael's house, leaving behind a small skylight because of the lack of roof in his inventory. When he's finally done, he goes to attack Foolish for starting the fire, but in the end, it just makes the situation worse for himself. As far as we know, Foolish did originally start the fire, but this doesn't matter because streams aren't really relevant. Like, Ken and Michael can't just look at Bad's stream, but what Michael can see is the photos Foolish caught of Bad Boy Halo in front of his burning house. So if Michael needs to get revenge, he'll know exactly who to go to. Luckily, Bad Boy Halo got off free for this one. When Michael comes back to his home after a long day, he barely notices the skylight. But when he does, he isn't exactly upset. Michael simply says he's going to have a stern talk with whoever did this, and the stream ends, finishing the background lore of the important events that are about to take place. Michael begins his recording with a set timeline. Much better than some other lore, the origin of why he decided to finally leave all began when he first joined. He talks about how welcome he felt by some, and how others had made him feel the relative opposites. They had warned him about building a wooden house, but he didn't take their advice, and it ended exactly how they said. While the burning was played off as a joke, he gave them a warning and moved as far as he possibly could, living in isolation for the past 5 months. Within his exploration alone, he's learned 3 things that kept him alive.
1. Self-reliance is an important key.
Hinting to the fact that he had no one to join him, or that he just has no friends.
2. When you're alone, you have nothing to rely on.
Implying he has no worries about people hurting or betraying him. He was now living a simple life on the few things that accompanied him on his journey.
And 3. Actions matter much more than words.
Now, this can be interpreted in many different ways. Most probable as how the skylight seemed to have meant nothing to him, but the reality was that it made him feel like he had no one. The few people he thought he had just betrayed him, or gave him a free skylight. I mean, come on. He mentions,
While I don't have enemies, I also don't have friends either.
proving my canon Lonely Michael theory to be true, and how,
My distance has been kept for reasons, and they're mine alone.
meaning some event may have took place that changed things for him, good or bad. Michael speaks about how much clearer things have been for him since he left. He no longer has to worry about the man locked away for life or the bustling growing empires across the desert, stealing people from their homes. He feels more free now. No surprises, just everyday expectations and the dangers he's been used to forthcoming. As the tape goes on, it gets continuously more worrisome, as if Michael is hiding a big secret, as if he knows something he shouldn't. Like he had to leave, and he took the skylight as a warning. My concern as I was listening to this definitely peaked around here. His voice sounds more stern, as if he's telling travelers to not go there no matter the reason. He describes it as if he was trapped within the walls, held against his will to take part in the fake friendships and watch silently as the money-hungry cities grew before his eyes. He sounds almost scared. The place he's staying is described as nameless, and nowhere near completion, but the coordinates are provided. Perhaps he was hoping someone would find this recording in a few months, placing it somewhere only travelers would find. And then we get a personalized cover of Something About Us by Daft Punks, which I am so honored. I think it's a cover. I don't really know. I mean, if it is, that's a huge compliment. This lore is nowhere near completion, but let me just say, if the rest of it is just as stunning as this, it might just be my new favorite canon timeline on the Dream SMP to date. Good job, Michael. He is not going to be watching this. But you are, and thank you for doing that. Very cool. The support, that has also been very cool. And yeah, very cool all around. And I hope to see you in the next video in like a month because upload schedules are overrated. Woo!